Hello and welcome to the Can't Blue podcast. My name is Dan Rolinson and I'm joined here this morning with John Townley to look ahead to the FA Cup game this Friday with Aston Villa and Chelsea, but not specifically about the game. I'm not sure whether we'll do a match preview. We don't know when the press conference is as we're recording this bit. We're bringing back the combined 11, John, this week. We did these earlier in the season when we played a big club, so while we're doing one for Chelsea, who quite knows? But it gives us the opportunity to look at both squads and try and build a combined 11. We've said many times we didn't want to do this against a Bournemouth or Sheffield United and have 10 Villa players and whatever. When you play against the bigger clubs, you've got maybe a more even split between the two sides in theory. Villa are obviously doing very well this season, and there's every reason, without bias, to have a lot of Villa players in a combined 11. Mm-hmm. Just before we get into that, what's your just general overview and your thoughts on the FA Cup this Friday?
Yeah, I am really looking forward to it because obviously Villa haven't played for, well, what is it now? It's about 10 days.
8 weeks, I think. 10 days.
Yeah, 9 days, 10 days as we record right now. So it's been a while. And then after that, obviously, we're going to have quite a lot of games coming up pretty quickly as well. The Newcastle game on the Tuesday night and then Saturday at Sheffield United, I believe. So, yeah, they're going to come thick and fast now, especially we've just had this kind of mini break. We had a break from obviously Premier League duties at the start of January as well. So I think the players are going to be fresh and ready to go. So, yeah, interested by the team selection as well on Friday night. But, yeah, the game itself, looking forward to it. And if we can get through, then all of a sudden we're 2 games away from Wembley, a Wembley semi-final, obviously. So, yeah, if we can get some good draws in those games, then there we go. He was kind of like the video that we did about the FA Cup previously, and I mentioned that my focus isn't on the FA Cup, but it will be if we can beat Chelsea, because all of a sudden it opens up, and it really is the case of, Villa aren't so horrifically bad in this competition anymore, and they're actually going to do something potentially. So, yeah, really looking forward to the game.
Without further ado, let's go into the combined 11. For those that didn't see this earlier in the season, we did it for Man City, Spurs and Arsenal. I think the 3 that we did. We take a side from WhoScored.com's stats based on the season so far. And John, you build a side as well based off your own opinion, Villa bias included, I'm sure. And we kind of face off against each other and see who comes up with the best team. Who scored or John Townley? Mixed it in with my bit of opinion as well. We'll start in goal. Is there an obvious shout for in goal here?
Yeah, of course there is. The Chelsea goalkeepers aren't kind of top 4, top 5 quality, really, are they? I mean, Sanchez is a decent keeper, and he was okay. He's good at Brighton, actually, but he's not. I guess it's the level below a Martinez, I suppose, maybe 2 levels below. I don't know. But Chelsea, for the money that they've spent, and we could probably say this about every position that we're going to go through, but for the money they have spent, you look at, for example, the striker or strikers, and there's not one like world-class striker there, and then goalkeeper. It's kind of one position, and they, after spending £1 billion, don't have a world-class goalkeeper. It's quite remarkable how they've just missed those positions. So yeah, Martinez is in goal, and I don't think there's many kind of combined 11s that won't have Martinez in goal. I think did I put Edison in for the City one? Maybe. I think I did. Because I was kind of basing it on, well, this is if there's so many Man City players, they'd play like Man City, wouldn't they? And the way that Pep plays, which is having Edison, pretty much on the halfway line. So Martinez is good out of, in possession anyway. But yeah, for this selection, clear winner, Martinez.
The Who Scored team disagrees, John. They've got they've got Petrovic in goal with a 6.86 rating. Emi Martinez has a 6.79 rating in the Premier League. He's played 20 games. Yeah. Petrovic has played 6 and has a 6.86 rating. Yeah, Petrovic with 6
good
games.
Petrovic. He has been good.
But he's not Martinez, is he? Come on.
No, of course he isn't. No, and I guess that is the kind of the difference of Who Scored and my really good opinion.
Let's go through the defence as a whole. Have you got a 4-man defence, a 3 at the back? What are you doing in yours?
Yeah, I've gone with a 3. I think I'm going to go with through basically every kind of team that I pick, just because it gets more like forward players on the pitch, which is more interesting, I suppose. So
you got 3 centre backs and 2 wing backs.
Yeah.
Okay, give me the 3 centre backs first, then I'll do my 2 because we've got a 4 at the back with Who Scored.
Konsa and Torres. I think they're going to feature in all my teams. Konsa and Torres, and then I've gone with Thiago Silva as a central centre back. I just think he's good.
It's pretty incredible what he's doing, isn't he? At his age.
Yeah. 40, isn't it? Yeah. So just a remarkable player. Again, this isn't a team that I'd like. Would I sign Thiago Silva for the next 5 years? Like, of course I wouldn't. But I think I'd text you, Dan, saying this is the team that I'd play if there was a cup final tomorrow and they're all like fully fit and there's no kind of context behind it. It's just players on a pitch for, whatever. So, I went with Silva in the middle, Torres on the left, and Konsa on the right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I can't really argue with any of that, to be honest. The Who Scored team argues with it slightly. I'm just having a quick scan while we're filming for Pau Torres' rating, just out of interest, so I can compare. Thiago Silva's got a 6.74 rating. Pau Torres has got a 6.7. So Silva pips Torres, but neither of them get into the Who Scored side. We've got Konsa with 6.76 and Colwill was 6.85. Was Colwill close to yours? You played through at the back, so you had the option to go with one more. Was he ever getting in?
No.
I will start with the fullbacks or the wing backs. Nice and easy from a Villa perspective. We've got Cash and Dean both make it into the Who Scored 11. Cash with a 6.78 and Luca Dean with a 6.89. Now, if this was, like you said, you're picking a team for a cup final, I can have anyone. Regardless of, obviously, Alex Moreno has not played as much as Dean, so his rating is not as good. I would have Moreno over Dean in a side. I would arguably have Reece James over Cash, but I can see why Cash is in there. Reece James never plays, does he? So I imagine his rating isn't great. So Cash, Konsa, Colwill and Dean is the back four for the Who Scored team. 3 Villa, 1 Chelsea.
Fair enough. For my fullbacks, I went with the Chelsea duo of Chilwell and James just because, again, if we're basing this off just a game, I think they've got more quality than both of our fullbacks, and that's nothing against those guys that we have. It's just that Reece James on his day is, one of the best fullbacks in the division or in the world, I suppose. But as you say, Danny's always injured, so you can't really count him in those conversations at the moment. Yeah,
Chilwell as a Moreno and Dean. I thought you might go for Moreno.
Obviously, I like Moreno a lot, and Aaron kind of stopped singing his praises, but I just think Chilwell is very good as well going forward. There's a lot of quality there. So either one of them really. But I thought, Chilwell, I think just about pips Moreno. Again, he's always injured, so it's difficult to say. But either or really. But Chilwell and James have kind of balanced it up, I suppose, for in my team anyway. What have I got now? 3 Chelsea, 3 Villa, I think. Ben
Chilwell 7 appearances in the Premier League, 4 starts, 6.55. Luca Dean was 6.89, so Dean clearly wins it. Moreno's rating will be low as well, just because of not playing. 6.53, but from 8 appearances, only 3 starts, as you would expect. So not great pickings at left back. Really, you can see why Dean makes the Who Scored almost by default. Really, that he's played the most, so obviously he's got a higher rating than the others. How is the rest of your team set up? I've got a kind of a 4-3-3, 4-5-1, depending on how you lay it out.
Right, okay. So I have 2 midfielders and then a kind of a number 10, I suppose. Pretty simple, Luiz and Kamara as a duo. Maybe there's a bit of bias in there because they play with each other, so we know that they work together, if that makes sense. Whereas Caicedo, Gallagher, Enzo Fernandez, those guys are all exceptional footballers, but between them it doesn't quite work. What I would say is that Caicedo, for example, is £100 million player. Fernandes, £100 million player. Fernandes in particular gets a lot of criticism, and I think that's because he costs so much money. I actually think he's a very good player for Argentina in the World Cup. He was one of the best players, so I think he gets a bit of a hard time sometimes because of the price tag he has, and because there's so much change in that midfield. Okay,
before I reveal my midfield, because like I said, you could lay it out in different ways. Who's the kind of attacking number 10 player you've got?
I went with Cole Palmer.
Okay.
Obviously having a very good season. Kind of wanted to put him on the right hand side because that's where he's been playing predominantly this season. But I didn't want to put him ahead of a different player. So he's kind of playing as a 10 and he can drift in and out. He'll play in that kind of position and kind of a free role. Again, a very good player. Someone I'm surprised City let go of, and I know that they always sell players anyway just to make money, and they never seem to hoard players, and they always replace them. So I don't think it's like a massive loss for City, but a player that I'm sure would have excelled, and he was getting somewhere with City as well. Like, he was playing games and he was getting appearances. So, surprised that he wanted to actually leave, but then he's doing very well at Chelsea, so fair play.
Okay, so some similarities then. I've got, like I said, a 3 in midfield. I've got Douglas Luiz in there as the highest rated, 7.16. Then I've got Conor Gallagher next to him with a 7.06. And I guess slightly in front of them as a more attacking midfielder, is Cole Palmer, 7.05. So no Kamara in the Who Scored team. 1 Villa player, 2 Chelsea. Again, I'll reveal in a sec who's next because you could, again, tweak it very slightly. No Kamara in there, no Fernandez, no Caicedo. When you talk about like money spent, those guys not being in there is madness, isn't it? Really, whether it's like an opinion-based side or a statistical-based side, they've not done enough to qualify for either. Kamara in there is a little bit of a surprise. I would have him slightly higher rated. Who Scored have him at 6.84 in the Premier League. I would have him touching closer to 7. I think if Gallagher is 7.06 and I don't think he's 0.3 better than Kamara in a strange roundabout way. The one that kind of maybe changes things slightly is I've got McGinn in mine, but he's, well, in mine, I say in the Who Scored side, but he's playing further forward. He's playing as part of a front three. So you could have Palmer on the side and McGinn in the middle to make it a 2-man Villa midfield.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And Gallagher. But yeah, McGinn is further forward in the Who Scored team with a 7.14. So a pretty good rating for McGinn. He's obviously having a very good season. Do you want to reveal your forward line and then I'll do the Who Scored one to end?
Yep. So I have 2 strikers, I suppose. I went with Leon Bailey and Ollie Watkins. I think there's probably an argument to have, I don't know, a Chelsea player in there. You've got like Sterling, Mudrik's been okay this season, but there's not really an argument to be made, is there? Leon Bailey's obviously been exceptional for us this season, and so has Ollie Watkins. So it wasn't actually a difficult 2 picks to make. It was mainly how do I put Palmer kind of with them. So I decided to put them back and then have James as Chilwell as the fullbacks. Yeah, those 2, I think, obviously complement each other very well, and then having that creativity behind of Palmer and something else in Louise, the 2 fullbacks as well. I think it's a nice little team.
Yeah, I think as always with these things, I prefer your team. 1, because there's more Villa players, and 2, I think you lay it out with more thought than Who Scored just seemed to go, here's 11 players, put them anywhere, a little bit all over the place. So I've got McGinn further forward in this. We'll tweak that in a second. We've got Sterling in there off the wing as well. I'd have McGinn on the right and Sterling on the left, I suppose. Sterling's got a 7 rating, bang on 7. Watkins is the striker, which is fairly obvious. I think for me, both ends of the pitch, I'll just go Martinez in, Watkins in, and then I'd work the rest around it. I think that they're so obvious to be in the side. Watkins is the highest rated of Who Scored, 7.23. Bailey, this is the one you've put in, 6.79 for him.
What? Bailey's been on at least a 7 this season, based on the other scores. Yeah, for
19
sure.
19 appearances in the Premier League, 9 starts, 10 off the bench, 6 goals, 5 assists, 6.79. Feels ridiculously harsh. That
maybe the kind of metrics, how they work things out, is kind of different for different positions. Well, obviously different for different positions, but harder to achieve a better rating in certain roles, maybe. I don't know. Yeah,
so read me your full 11 then. For audio listeners and for video watchers, I'll stick a graphic on screen as well at the same time.
So we've got Martinez in goal, Konsa, Thiago Silva, and Pau Torres as a back 3, I suppose. Reece James, right wing back, Ben Chilwell, left wing back, Douglas Luiz and Boubacar Kamara in the double pivot, and then you've got Cole Palmer supporting Leon Bailey and Ollie Watkins in attack.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, nice team. The Who Scored team is Petrovic in goal, a back 4 of Cash, Konsa, Colwill and Dean, a midfield 3 of Louise, Gallagher and Palmer, although I am tempted to put McGinn in the middle and Palmer out wide, but a front 3 of Sterling, McGinn and Ollie Watkins as the main focal point. Leon Bailey, the first sub, I would guess.
How many Chelsea players in that?
Yeah, so what's the split? So the split for mine is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 Chelsea players in mine.
Oh dear.
I thought it was going to be like 7 Villa, 8 Villa, pretty comfortably.
Don't get me wrong, if a Chelsea fan puts 7 Chelsea players or 6 Chelsea players, you'd get it, because it's obviously very biased. But for a stats website, considering how many points, let me quickly check for you. How many points Chelsea behind Villa? I should know this.
Oh, can I have a guess?
Yeah, please do.
I mean, I want to say something like really rude, about 30, even though I know it's obviously not going to be that amount.
They're on 31 points. So.
Yeah, okay. I'm trying to work out what we're on. I'd say it's about 13 points.
12 points to be that far ahead of a team and only have 1 more player, is it? So Chelsea are, what are they, 2 points away from Wolves in the Premier League.
Well, this is the thing, right? So obviously we're doing this because it's Chelsea, and Chelsea are traditionally a big 6 club and whatever. At the moment, they're not that. They are a bona fide mid-table club. they've been that for this season and last. They've spent a lot of money, and it's like, oh, well, there should be good talent in there, and it makes this kind of video. Well, there probably is a pretty even split because maybe you've got underperforming players or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you were doing this with, if it wasn't Chelsea and you changed the badge and the name to a Wolves or a Crystal Palace or whatever, it would be 9 or 10 Villa. They'd be a lot worse. Exactly, yeah. So some kind of bias going on somewhere, whether it's intentional or not, that Chelsea seem to be inflated ratings, yeah, just because of who they are when they shouldn't be anywhere near that.
Again, my team is based on everyone's fit and available, and there's not much context behind it, really. So I could have probably added a couple more Chelsea if I wanted to, but based off what we've seen from Villa this season, it's hard to kind of drop, I don't know, a Kamara for a Gallagher, like who scored have.
Yeah, I think you could have had Moreno in there as well and had it 8-3.
Yeah, possibly had Moreno, yeah. And even, again, Reece James hardly qualifies anymore.
For those that are watching along on YouTube, scroll down to the comment section and let us know your thoughts on the Who Scored side and John's side. And if you want, you can fill out your own 11 as well. I always find these things interesting for a quick 15-minute video or so, just have a chat about the two sides in a different way. If we don't do a preview specifically for Chelsea, John, which I've got a feeling we probably won't have time for later in the week, what's the score prediction for you for Friday? Just so we've got it on record. We normally only stick to Premier League games, but seeing as we're here talking about it, we might as well do it.
I think it'll be a draw, to be honest.
Do you? Replay?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We could do without that, couldn't we?
We absolutely could do without a replay. I just think it's very even. Chelsea have only, is a good stat for you. Chelsea have only lost one game since we beat them at Stamford Bridge at home, obviously. So
okay.
That's interesting. They're on an 8-match unbeaten run at Stamford Bridge. They only lost to Brentford after us at home, which came like the week or two after. So
how many draws in that 8? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know for sure. Probably quite a few, but they're hard to beat at home. And I think us going there, I don't know if Pau Torres is fit right now, but I think Longley will start over him. I wouldn't be surprised to see Robin Olsen start as well ahead of Martinez. I know that sounds a bit controversial. I do, because he's fit now. He's been in training, so I presume he's fit. He wasn't included in the Everton squad, I don't think. He played in the Carabao Cup game against Everton, didn't he? And then Martinez played against Borough, but I think because Robin Olsen wasn't available. So I think, if we're going off of like a fully fit squad, I think Olsen probably plays. John Duran could also play instead of Watkins, just because he needs games. I know people want to agree with
all this, by the way.
This isn't my opinion. I'm saying that I think, just kind of clearing up, that this could happen. Maybe not all of that will happen, but some of that could. Just saying. So I think it'll be a tight game. It's a game that Chelsea, I think, will be bang up for as well because of their position in the league. They need to get some sort of success this season. And I know they've got the Carabao Cup, but they might not even get through. I don't know. Depending on what happens tonight, maybe Morgan Rogers will score a hat-trick or something. Who knows?
All right, let's call it a day there for this video. John, thank you for joining me on Tuesday evening that we're recording this, all very last minute. So thank you for sparing half an hour. I will try and edit it down a little bit. I made loads of mistakes, so the final video won't be half an hour. Yeah, that's it, John. Thanks for joining me. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you again very soon. Such a rambly outro. Not do these last minute recording sessions all over the place.